Something we all say does not happen in small communities, but we found out today it does.
You know, my 22 years of being in crisis response for the FBI, that's probably the worst scene I've ever seen.
It's just hard to see that type of stuff. Again, it's not natural for people to experience that.
I don't know how anyone would not have been affected by Sutherland Springs. It was a terrible, terrible thing that happened.
When I'm out in the public, I enjoy being around people, and I'm not going to let evil prevent me from doing that, but I have to be vigilant and aware of my surroundings.
You know, it's sometimes difficult. People tend to pull away. We've had a few people just feel like they didn't want to be in public, period. It's happened at churches, it's happened at Walmart, it's happened at schools.
We can't allow this act that happened last weekend to keep us from church. We can't allow it to use it as an excuse why we can't or should not go to church. We can't allow that act to let us turn heinous and ugly as the darkness would have us to be. The victors, to be victors, which I have read the end of the book, we are, means you have to get in a fight. And if you get in a fight, even if you're the biggest, burliest one in the fight, you're still going to get hurt somewhere. If you're not, then you wasn't fighting.
And that is just a preview of what is ahead tonight in our After Sutherland Springs special airing tonight. Weeks after the shooting rampage that killed 26, we went back and spoke to some people, and now we're hearing from law enforcement.
And with us today, KSAT 12 anchor Steve Spriester, who will host the special, and KSAT 12 executive producer Nicole Bettis, who has logged long hours working on it. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in to GMSA at 9 today. First thing I want to ask you guys, we've done extensive coverage on the shooting. It's rare that you have such a big national story in your backyard like this. Our digital team did a piece back late last year. How is this special different?
It basically, what are some of the lessons of Sutherland Springs? What did we learn? Clearly, our life has changed. When somebody goes into a place of safety, a sanctuary, and does what this gunman did, our lives have changed. What have we learned from there? How have we changed? And I think one of the lessons, you heard from some of the FBI agents there that I went out and interviewed, and I asked them, what's the lesson from Sutherland Springs? And they said, hope. And that it had to be, because that's how we move on. And even the pastor, Frank Pomeroy, that you heard there, was clear to say, love trumps hate. Love is greater than hate. And that is what that community has done. I mean, if this madman thought he was going to go in there and destroy this community and destroy this church, he's done just the opposite. And that's the lesson that we're going to, hopefully, one of the lessons that people take out of this.
Still a lot of emotion, you know, even from law enforcement who had to respond and be on the front lines.
Well, and I think the thing that you'll see from the FBI, and we also talked to Fire Chief Hood, Police Chief McManus, and Sheriff Salazar about learning from these things. Because if we don't take something away from it, if we don't grow from it, if we don't take that lesson that they have, and they kind of give us some advice about how these things have changed them, and how they, when they don't have their uniform on, when they're just like the rest of us, how they go about their day-to-day, what they look for, just to kind of have more awareness, because that's one of the things we want people to take away from this is, and the reason we call it After Sutherland Springs, because we had kind of two realities before, when it didn't happen here in our backyard, and the after. It's happened here. It's gonna happen again. Since Sutherland Springs, there have been nearly 50 mass shootings in this country. So it's still happening. But if we don't take something away from this, if we don't become aware and have the conversation now, it's too late when you're in it.
And I think that's the valuable part of this is if we do nothing more than spark a conversation, then we've achieved our goal. Because the powers that be here at KSAT, I mean, this is a commercial-free hour that they're devoting to this subject. And, you know, that's almost unheard of in this day and age. So it's commercial-free. We try to be very sensitive to the fact that we're trying to focus so much on the victims, but the gunman is part of the puzzle. But we don't spend a lot of time on him.
Let me ask you this. We just saw some of the human side of a lot of these first responders, and we rarely get a chance to talk to FBI agents, and there was probably one of the biggest cases for a lot of these agents in their entire careers. Let's talk about the community and how they're dealing with after Sutherland Springs.
You want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
The FBI agents that I talked to, I mean, they really, one of the reasons they talked to us is because of that stigma that they say a lot of first responders suffer from, that I'm the tough cop, I'm the tough firefighter, I don't need counseling, I don't need, this is what I do for a living. And Christopher Combs, the special agent in charge for the FBI local office, was very clear with the fact he is still suffering from the after effects, and his agents are still suffering from the after effects of Sutherland Springs. He called it the worst scene he's ever been to. He was at the Pentagon. He's been to 2 other mass casualty shootings. But they're getting through it in a lot of different ways, including a program that a lot of people don't know about that the FBI has called the Critical Response Team. And they are on the scene, and we talked to somebody from that team as well. We talked to 3 different agents and just kind of how they deal with it. And, faith is part of that too. And you cannot tell the story without talking about faith, not only of the congregation, but a lot of the people that are involved, including the first responders.
And I think if those first responders acknowledge that they need help, they need to talk to somebody about it, then what's stopping any of us from doing that too? So we kind of hope that people walk away from this not feeling like we are trying to dredge up the past. We're moving forward, and we want to empower people with the information that it's okay to talk about it. In fact, you should talk about it. And if it's really bothering you, you should get some help to really sort through it, because that's part of the healing, and it's part of the empowerment that you can fight that fight if you have to.
Well, this affected so many of us and a lot of our viewers as well, and I think it may be therapeutic to watch the special, all of us. So we recommend it. Obviously, it's a very sensitive subject matter. Keep that in mind, but it's airing tonight, again, commercial-free, 9 o'clock right here on KSAT 12. I know you guys have worked really hard on this, and it had to be hard to hear some of these stories over and over as you're trying to piece these puzzle pieces together.
Well, even going back to Sutherland Springs, we went back on Friday and shot a few things. I mean, the crosses are still there with the handwritten notes on the crosses themselves, the stuffed animals, the toys that are left.
It's still real.
In memory of the kids. It is still very real there.
On Friday night to, just have a moment there.
Well, we look forward to seeing your work. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in today.